Yo, 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 what's going on, family? It's your boy VIC93, and we are live for the very first episode of Vic's Watch and Play. Today, we are going to be covering the state of the MCU today, as well as going over the newly released MCU movie, Captain America Brave New World. This show is going to be consistent of me going over movies, TV shows, comics, video games, stuff like that. So if you're a gamer or if you're a comic nerd, tap in with me. I got you. We locked in. Got everything you need down here in one channel. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate one, if not all three. All right. Now, this video, we're going to be talking about Captain America Brave New World. If you haven't seen it yet, there will be some tiny, tiny spoilers. I'm not going to break down every scene of the movie, but we are going to be talking about, what's going on in the movie. So if you not want to be spoiled, if you have not seen it, definitely go ahead and pause this. Come back later next week or next month after it release on Disney Plus. Come back and give it a watch, all right? I ain't trying to send you away, but hey, if you don't want to hear the spoilers, hey, I understand. It's all good. Just come on back. Just come on back. All right. And without further ado, let's dive into it. Captain America Brave New World was released February 14th in the United States. Its running time is about an hour and a half, a little bit over an hour and a half at 118 minutes. And the budget was estimated around 180 million. And today is February 26th at recording. And the current box office for Brave New World is sitting at a whopping 291.3 million. Yikes. So if you were lucky like me, you got to see it twice. I saw it that Sunday, February 16th, and then I went back to see it on $5 Tuesdays at AMC with my girlfriend. She wanted to see it. So we went to go see it, and that was my second time watching it. And the first time I went to see it, I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't a woke flick like I was expecting, because a lot of the controversy leading up to the movie was dealing with the absence of Steve Rogers, Captain America. Not a lot of people was on board with that decision. I'm one of those people that felt like Marvel had did away with a lot of characters a little too soon. And I'm not saying that the way Endgame ended wasn't a good ending, about, how Tony Stark passed, Steve Rogers died of old age and stuff like that. That stuff was cool, but I just think that they shouldn't have done away with the characters. I think they should have still brought the characters back in a different way or a different form, or even had flashbacks of the characters to show like other stories that we could have dove into. And I feel like the use of the multiverse, they just didn't use it as well as they could have. I mean, when I first heard that they were doing the multiverse in this saga, I was expecting more, flashbacks of those characters showing different stories that we didn't get to see during phase one, because MCU didn't have access to all of the characters. They still don't have access to all the characters entirely, but they have way more access now than they did in the past, with them acquiring X-Men, Fox basically acquiring Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Ghost Rider, Blade, all of those guys. And then, of course, they got the deal with Sony where they can make Spider-Man movies. They got a partnership with Sony now, so they just dropped the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on Disney Plus, which was pretty mid, but that's for another video. So with Marvel, excuse me, I want to make a distinction between Marvel and MCU, because Marvel is just the whole company, and we're just specifically talking about MCU, this specific universe of movies and shows. They got access to all these characters, and you were thinking like, yeah, they're gonna introduce X-Men, they're gonna do this and that. In reality, we didn't get an X-Men movie until last year, 2024. But like I said, they had access to those characters since 2019. And I understand, there was a lot of contracts and litigation that had to happen for them to be able to fully outright just make projects without being in breach of contract. I understand all that. But you mean to tell me that they acquired X-Men in 2019, we don't get our first any type of mutant content until 2024, 5 years later. Nah, bro, you can miss me with that. Honestly, think I know they use the term mutant in a few different projects, and I know that the Beast was in a cameo with the Marvel at the end of the Marvels. Still haven't seen the Marvels, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, as much as I love the MCU and DC and just comics in general, I'm not sitting through that. I just can't, like, usually I'll give a movie a chance, but when I know it's bad, there's no way I'm gonna watch it. Like, it's on Disney Plus. I'll get around to it eventually one day. But yeah, from what I've seen, like the trailers and reviews and everything else, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna save myself and miss this one. But I did see that Beast was in the end credit scene for that. That was getting people hopes up to, be ready to see X-Men. But yeah, the first project we got was Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman coming back from retirement to drop a banger with a bunch of cameos in there. So I really think Marvel dropped the ball basically with handling the multiverse, handling introducing X-Men. After Endgame, they were supposed to kick it into next gear with the drops, introducing new characters and stuff like that. But I feel like that we fell into endless cycle of woke projects and just honestly underperforming characters, storylines, and plots. That's really what it comes down to. So back to Captain America. The movie starts off with Sam on a mission to retrieve some stolen adamantium. And the adamantium was stolen by none other than Sidewinder, the Serpent Society leader, and that was played by none other than Carlo Esposito. I had Google say it because I be messing that man's name up, and I am not gonna mess his name up today. Giancarlo Esposito. He's a great actor, by the way. So yeah, much respect to him. He did the best he could with that character. It wasn't a good cast as far as I just think that what the MCU does and what they still haven't learned over all these years is a lot of us comic fans, we want to see them actually bring the comics to life. Now, in MCU's defense, in their defense, I understand that it's very difficult to bring certain things from a comic book to a movie to a film, but I just wish and I know some people are gonna say, well, it looks too goofy or it doesn't look cool. And it's like, bro, who gives a damn about looking cool, bro? Honestly. Like when the MCU was first made, the first movie was technically it was Incredible Hulk. But the first MCU movie was Iron Man, right? Iron Man was not a huge character. But the way they made the story and interpreted him, everybody fell in love with it because that's what the fans wanted. We wanted to see them bringing a character like that to life. And the way they did it was so simple, but yet it told a good story. And I feel like the MCU has drifted away from that recipe of just making a good story and then throwing the comics in. They don't have to tell every single story that's ever been written. But of course, you gravitate from the stories that you are using for the movie, right? And you implement those characters. And if you're not going to implement the characters correctly, then don't use them at all. I would rather them make up fake names, just cast regular people as those fake names, and then be done with it. Because why cast this man, Giancarlo Esposito? Why cast him and for him to portray this when Sidewinder looks like this, right? You're trying to make it realistic, but you got a huge celestial in the ocean. How does that make sense? And even with my girl Ruth, they had Shira Haas as Ruth Bat Serpa, and I know it was some controversy with her because she was Israeli and they didn't want that symbol in the movie and things like that. But okay, just take the symbol off her suit. Ruth Bat Serpa has superhuman strength. She can fly. She shoots beams out her hands. Like she has unworldly powers. She even battles the Hulk in the comics. And don't get me wrong, I know she's not well known, and I didn't know that much about her. In when growing up in the comics, that she wasn't like a character that I just was like, oh, I got to see. But I did know, like, I've seen her before, and she fought powerful characters. Her and Hulk went toe to toe. Like, she's very powerful, but in the movie, she's basically an agent to protect the president. Like, in my opinion, that's a waste of a character. You want to use that same actor, that's fine. You could have still casted her, named her Waverly Catherine, and still could have played the same character. You know what I'm saying? Like, that MCU keeps doing this. They keep using characters, important characters, and then reducing them. And then it makes us feel nothing for that character. It makes us feel like the character shouldn't have even been there. Because when you go back and see who these characters were really meant to be, you was like, oh man, if we would have saw that in the movie, that probably would have been cool. Or that would have made it more interesting, right? But we're trying to tell a story to fit a certain narrative instead of telling the story from the comic. And I feel like that's where MCU goes downhill. So we have those characters. Isaiah Bradley does come back. If you guys don't know Isaiah Bradley, he was a character from Falcon and Winter Soldier, the series, which is on Disney Plus. He is also played by Carl Lumbly. I had to get his name in there. He did a great job. He did a great job in the series. He did a great job in the movie. He's really the highlight of the movie to me. But don't get me wrong, I think the actors did pretty well with the scripts they were given. I just think that one, they was miscast, and two, the writers didn't do them justice, and whoever was on the artwork, they just didn't do them justice. It should have been way bigger than what they were given. I hate to see that these great actors are producing a movie that's barely gonna break even, if it even breaks even at this point. Reports say that to break even, it needs to make 425 million. And like I said earlier, they're currently sitting at a whopping 290. That's 2 weeks in. Has the third highest drop off from first opening weekend to the second weekend in MCU history. They're number 3 behind the Marvels and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Yeah, so the Marvels was minus 78% from the opening weekend to second weekend, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was 70%. And as of right now, today is Tuesday, February 26, 2025. In America Brave New World, it dropped 68% from opening weekend to the second weekend, third worst in the MCU. So that lets you know right there that it's following the same formula that we've been doing the past 3-4 movies released from MCU. Everybody's going the first weekend to see how it is, to like give it a chance. Like me, I'm going first weekend like, oh, okay, I'm gonna, let's see if they make up for their mistakes. And then once the reviews come out and people see that it wasn't that great, people don't show up. They're not coming, the people who couldn't make it the first weekend, they're like, nah, I'm not going. I'm just gonna wait for it to come out on Disney Plus. Because why am I gonna go spend 20 to 30 bucks, really 40 bucks if you add popcorn and drinks for 2 people to go to a movie if it's the same thing over and over again? And it brings us back to the point of the movie where it's like it's trying to tell so many stories to pay off so many Easter eggs that it left in the past, that it doesn't even feel like its own movie. You got characters from The Incredible Hulk that was dropped in 2008. You got characters from Winter Soldier. You got characters from Falcon and Winter Soldier show. It's too much. It's too much. And it's all in one. And it doesn't even feel like a Captain America movie. That's why the people who are upset that Steve Rogers isn't there and stuff like that, this is one of the arguments that they can use, was it didn't feel like a Captain America movie to me. It felt more like an Incredible Hulk 2 than a Captain America movie. You got your boy Tim Nelson playing the leader. And I like Tim Nelson. I liked him as in the first Incredible Hulk. In this movie, he just fell flat. He fell flat. They kind of hinted at him being the villain in the trailers. And when you see him on screen, boy, is it rough. You went ahead and gave him the CGI. Why not just do it the right way? And that's my thing with MCU put certain characters on a pedestal and then they just do the other characters just dirty. However, like how similar to how they did MODOK and Ant-Man. Like anybody as a comic fan knows character MODOK is. MODOK was an important character and they just used him as a corny joke the whole movie. The leader, you basically, he's a meme. He's a meme. He's forever a meme, bro. People, I guarantee you, people are going to be using his picture, his illustrations, and memes for years to come. It was atrocious. Why couldn't they just do him like this? You know, like I don't understand. Artists decided that, yeah, hey, I drew up. This is one of my mock-ups. What y'all think? And everybody was like, yeah, let's throw that in the movie. And that brings up another point. You can tell that the movie was reshot to hell. It was so cut up in many different ways. It was cut up left and right, and you can tell by the final edit that it was a lot of different ideas that they just threw in one pot, and it was like, here you go. But let me get off of this for a second. I've been ragging on this movie. Let me tell you some of the good points. The actors did pretty good. The action scenes were fun. Falcon, him flying around, chopping off planes, that was cool to see. The Red Hulk scene was the highlight of the film. I'm pretty sure that's what most people wanted to go see, was the Red Hulk, based on the trailer, which in my opinion, I think they should have kept that a secret. His fight scene was pretty cool, but overall the CGI was just not it. They get, I don't know how a $1 billion corporation can't make movies with good CGI. I just don't understand it. This isn't the first time that this has happened. This is something that's an ongoing issue with the MCU and Disney. Disney, they do their thing when it comes to remakes, like Lion King and Cinderella. Lilo and Stitch is about to come out. We'll see how those look. But when it comes to the MCU and Star Wars, they just say, hell, here you go. They give him the C and B grade artists. I don't know what's going on with that, but, and I'm not trying to, you know, rag on the artists. I know they put their time and effort into it, but ultimately it falls in the hands of Kevin Feige and the corporate suits up in Disney. I can't blame it all on Kevin, because I know, you know, when Disney bought Marvel, I knew the direction it was headed in. I knew that it was going to be a family friendly, you know, down to earth, not too violent, you know, series of movies and shows. They're starting to let up a little bit. We got the Deadpool versus Wolverine movie, which was solid. Daredevil Born Again's coming, which looks to be solid. I will be doing reviews and episodes on that series. So if you want to make sure to see what I think about that, go ahead and subscribe and you will be caught up with every episode. Yeah, as far as, you know, the MCU recently, I just think they're still taking characters, throwing them in movies, but they're not doing them fully justice, right? And that's also one of my opinions with the new Falcon. The new Falcon's name is Joaquin Torres, played by Danny Ramirez. So Joaquin Torres is the new Falcon, and they just threw him in there. Where does he come from? Hell, we don't know. The way the movie describes it, he was in the military, he looked up to Sam Wilson, and now they're partners. Like the very first scene we see him in, he's talking to Sam over the radio, and Sam's like, I know what you're trying to do. You're not finna come out here and fight with me. Please, Sam, please let me come fight with you. All right, get your wings and come on. I'll let you tag along. Like, that's literally how he's introduced. No backstory, no plot. Just, yeah, here's a new Falcon. Y'all have fun. And they expect us to like accept this, bro. And you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm getting tired of getting the same old plots every single time. Could you at least put a little bit of thought into this character? Can you make me care about him just a little bit? He's on screen for a good amount of time. You would think that there's some type of plot, some type of hurt, some type of loss, some type of reason why he wants to be Falcon. But hell, if there is one, we don't know, because they don't give us anything to go off of. It's just another guy in the movie. And that's pretty much sums up all the characters except for Sam and Ross. It's like they're just other guys in a movie. This is a guy in the movie. That's a girl in the movie. That's a guy in the movie. This is a girl in the movie. They're all in the movie. Y'all should pay for a Disney Plus subscription and go to the movies to see it. Great pitch, Disney. But yeah, as the movie continues, it's basically the leader is trying to get revenge on President Ross because the leader is mad that President Ross made him work building machines, technology, and stuff. Sorry, I got a little too far ahead. So, in Incredible Hulk, the leader, Tim Nelson, he had some gamma chemicals spill onto his head, which turned him into the leader. And come to find out in the movie, Ross was feeding him more gamma to enhance his abilities. And his abilities in the movies, basically, he can calculate predictions and percentages very accurately. He's very smart. He has a high intellect and he can predict outcomes of situations based on the numbers. In the comics, he had way more ability than that. They didn't kill him off, so I'm not sure if they maybe use him later, and that's one thing I was like, with the way he looks, I'm hoping maybe that was just the setup for him. Maybe they bring him back later in another project and he's like, oh, well, that was just the half form. That was just his first form. Now here's his final form, Frieza style. Final form leader. He has the full brain now and he can use his powers and all this type of stuff. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they bring him back in other projects so we can see, the leader in true final form. Yeah, so Ross was feeding him gamma, and the leader is upset because Ross promised him that he would get a pardon if he keeps working for him when he gets elected for president. And when Ross became president, of course, he didn't honor his promise to the leader. And the leader knew this all along because, like I said, his powers is predicting outcomes. So throughout the years, he was feeding Ross some gamma radiated pills, which caused Ross to transform into Red Hulk. And I will give MCU credit. They did their best trying to depict that story, even though that's not exactly what happened. But the leader did have a hand in turning Ross into Red Hulk in the comics. So that part was at least a little accurate, which I'm guessing that's why they threw him in this movie. But it's like, why can't we use the leader as a Hulk villain? I mean, I get it. Marvel and MCU and Disney are still having issues with making Hulk movies. Technically, they can't make Hulk movies still because Universal still owns the rights to Hulk. They can use Hulk in movies, they can use him in media, they can use him in shows. They can use all of the Hulk characters from what I'm informed, from what I know, they can use all the characters. It's just that they can't name a movie Hulk movie because Universal will own the rights to distribute that movie if they call it a Hulk movie. So that's why you got Thor Ragnarok with Hulk in it. It was a very dumbed down World War Hulk movie, but it was Thor's movie and they just had Hulk in it. I get that they have that issue, but my thing is they made a whole She-Hulk series, which was absolute garbage, by the way. So they had the whole She-Hulk series, and mean to tell me you can't use leader in a movie where he actually goes against the Hulk? Interesting. Or you can't use a gray Hulk in a movie with the Hulk? Interesting. But they had him in She-Hulk as well. Interesting. But it's just a lot of confusion going on right now with the fans. I think I speak for a lot of fans when I say that we're confused. We don't know the direction it's going in. We don't know how MCU is gonna, rejuvenate itself because this movie it was a cool action flick and I saw it the first time and I was like, hey, it was pretty cool. It was a solid. But and when I went and saw it the second time, it was just all the glaring issues just popped out even louder. I'm sorry. Like cool action scenes, you'll watch that a few times, but I'm not I watched John Wick to see him kick ass, but I also watched John Wick because I wanted to see him take down the Order. Once it built on that with John Wick 2, it was like, snap, this is way bigger than just him getting revenge on his dog. He got a whole army of assassins that's looking for this man. So each movie, it upped the ante every time. Yes, we went to see the action scenes and to see him kill people with pencils, but at the same time, it's like we were invested in the story. And with the MCU, it seems like The story is losing its soul. Cue the music. It's losing its soul. It's just a mindless zombie out here spitting out content and expects us to go see it. My second time watching it, I was just the main thing that kept popping into my head was, man, this movie could have been so much better if they delivered on these useless slash mid characters. We already talked about Sidewinder, Giancarlo Esposito, his character, the leader of the Serpent Society. And then you got Ruth Bat Serpa. You got, who else is in here? You got Betty Ross, who was barely in the movie. Sebastian Stan reprises his role as Bucky Barnes. He made a cameo appearance. We're going to see him in Thunderbolts. We'll see how that goes. I'm like, bro, Betty was in the movie for one scene. How do we have Thunderbolt Ross, president, in a movie and not see Bruce Banner or Betty more than one time? Well, we didn't see Bruce at all. Let's get that out the way. No Bruce Banner at all. You got a Thunderbolt Ross with no Bruce Banner. Like, those two characters alone are tied together. In the comics, Ross, he hunted Hulk relentlessly. And I get it. This is supposed to be a Captain America movie, but nothing about it is Captain America. I'm sorry. I just can't unsee Hulk every time I watch the movie. That's what, when I went back to see it the second time, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, this is Hulk, Incredible Hulk 2. In the fight scene towards the end, when Red Hulk is fighting Sam, the Captain America, at the end of the fight, they're both kind of worn down because of, basically, it was unrealistic too, the way they tried to make the vibraniums this ultra. I mean, I get it. It is very powerful, but Sam, a regular human without the super soldier serum, going up against Red Hulk and some wings, the way they made it where Sam actually had a chance, it was ridiculous, honestly. And they tried to overshadow it by Sam actually saying, "You could crush me with one punch if you wanted to. We both know it. But you're better than this, Ross. I think you're a better person." And Ross was like, "You know what? Let me calm down." Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Now, if they would have brought Betty in the middle of the fight and he saw Betty, that would have been 1,000 times better than just seeing him and Sam talking to each other, because he had no ties to Sam. Sam was not a person that Ross would look to for calmness and to collect himself. Now, his daughter, Betty, who wasn't speaking to him for a while, that was somebody. Now you bring her on the screen. Now we all as an audience understands how much she means to him and why he would be calm in that moment. But they twisted it into, Sam having talk no jutsu and basically just talked the Hulk down, which made no sense. Since they brought Betty to the movie, you should have used her more. She should have been an important character in Ross's transition into Red Hulk, in my opinion. You also had the scene where Falcon and Captain America were stopping missiles in midair. At least they got one thing right. Falcon did take a missile to the chest. The only thing was he didn't die. The man was in the hospital, bruises on his chest. I'm like, this man just took a whole missile. He's still alive. I'm telling y'all, bro, I can't make this shit up. Captain America was slicing planes out the air, which was cool to see. I think that was a cool scene. Yeah, man, I just think that they put too much ingredients in the pot, and they didn't portion size the ingredients correctly, if that makes sense. I'm gonna be monitoring, how it goes in the next couple of weeks. I predicted last week after the first week when I saw it that it wasn't gonna be a box office hit. I didn't predict that it would flop this bad if it does flop, because like I said, right now we're sitting at 291 mil after 2 weeks, 68% drop off from the first week. It's not gonna get any better. It's gonna continue to drop. Hopefully, they can have maybe some people go and watch it while it's cheap, to get those numbers up. But the way it's looking, it's not going to reach that 425. And it's going to be, just another one of those woulda, coulda, shoulda from the MCU. But that's my take, guys. Like I said, MCU has a lot of work to do. I know we got Thunderbolts coming up, and then Fantastic Four is coming this summer. Both of those movies look interesting, but It is the MCU. At this point, we just gotta, take what they give us and move on from there. I am also excited about the future of the DCU, what James Gunn is doing over there. I know Creature Commando season 2 just got greenlit and it got fast tracked. So they're actually producing it way faster. It wasn't supposed to come out for another couple years, but they're saying it might come out either late this year or next year, which was super cool, super dope. That show was awesome. I loved it. And I loved the Penguin. I don't think that's DCU. That's just in the Matt Reeves Bat universe. DCU looks promising. Superman is coming out this year. I will be doing episodes on that for sure. So y'all go ahead and stay tuned. That is the first episode of Vic's Watch and Play, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, if you like this content, definitely let me know in the comments what you would like to talk about next. Like and subscribe to keep up with the new episodes. Also, I did drop those links down in the description below for my other channels. If you guys are more into sports and other new topics that are popular, go ahead and look down below in my description. I dropped the link for Vic's Takes where I talk about that stuff as well. And also I have my little cousin Khalil and my little nephews Carson Hooping, Khalil Hooping, Carson Hooping, and also my other little nephew Vegas is hooping. I have my other two nephews Joseph and Marcus. I got their highlights on the way, but I got Vegas, Khalil, and Carson's highlights down below. If you guys are into watching youth sports, let me know what you think. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. This is VIC 93 and I'm out. Peace.